everyone, welcome back. In today's session, we review and understand the very important fill handle functionality. To remind you, the fill handle is located at the bottom right hand corner of a cell. So when you hover over it, you will see a small black cross there. At its simplest, the fill handle allows us to quickly copy. The example we have here on the screen is a status tracker for project presentation completion for students. Thus, we see columns such as course ID, student roll number, first name, last name, email, completed date, day, presentation title, and score. In our learning exercise, we will complete this tracker using a fill handle. So let's get started. Let's start by filling in the course ID for all the entries. First, select both the entries, find your fill handle, and now drag down to row 15. That's all. Very quickly, we have completed the first column. Moving on, we need to fill in the serial numbers column now. Again, select first both the entries, find your fill handle. This time, instead of dragging, we are going to try a shortcut. We are going to double click on the fill handle. Wow, gets the job done even more easily. Next, let's complete the roll number column now. Here, as you can see, we want to generate a alphanumeric series like 2018 CE001, 2018 CE002, 2018 CE003, and so on. So, let's select both the entries and see what happens when we double click on the fill handle. Perfect. What we have generated here is an alphanumeric series, which is a combination of text and numbers. As you can see, Excel automatically adds 1 to the numbers to generate this alphanumeric series. Now, the first name and last name columns are already filled in here for our convenience. For email entries, we will come back to it in a bit. Let's see what happens with our dates now. Find the cell with the first date entry and double click the fill handle. Again, we've got that series with one date added to each date, which is perfect. Coming to days now, so we click on Tuesday, find that fill handle, and again double click. Very clever, we have filled in entries with one day after another, exactly what we wanted to do. Finally, for this example, the presentation title is another series for us. So click on I5, find the fill handle and double click. And that's it. Looks like we are almost through with completing our datasheet. But let's take a step back here. We have completed each of these columns individually so that we could see how they work exactly. But let's see how much more quickly we could have completed the same. To do that, first I am going to undo these changes. Now, let's select the entries for course ID, serial number and roll number. And then find the fill handle and double click. Perfect! You see, it does exactly what we did earlier and in no time at all. Again, let's select the entries for day, date and title, find the fill handle and double click. You see how efficient that is? We save so much time and we don't have to do them one at a time. Before we move on to the remaining columns, there's another very important observation that we want to make here. Under Course ID column, again, I'm going to click on CE101, find the fill handle and drag down to row number 15. We see that the fill handle has quickly generated a series of course ID for us instead of a simple copy. Don't worry, that's okay. Excel actually gives us options to choose from. Whenever we use the fill handle, there's a little icon that comes up at the bottom. And if you hover over it, you will see it's called Autofill Options. I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow and you will see it has auto-selected fill series. But we can change it to copy cells to simply copy value. I'm going to click on that and there you go. The change is made. Now, let's see what would happen with our options for date. Come back to the first date here, find the fill handle and double click. Look at the options in the autofill options. And this time, again, it has chosen fill series. But I could also choose to simply copy. Let's try that. I select copy cells and there you go. You see that it has simply copied the first date. But for our example, I'm going to revert back to fill series. Now, let's look at the serial number column. What happens when we double click on the first cell? Here, again, Excel has auto-selected copy cell option. You see, that's interesting. But for the purpose of our example again, I am going to go ahead and select fill series. So what we've seen is with dates and alphanumeric entries, we get a series. But with numbers, we automatically get a copy. Seems logical. However, there is a way to nudge Excel into our direction of need, like we did when we started working on the sheet at the very beginning of our session. We gave Excel the entries to let it follow the required pattern. Let's look at the original sheet again. So for course ID, serial number and student roll number column, we entered the first two entries to ensure that Excel autofilled based on the pattern provided. Let's quickly use the fill handle again to remind ourselves. Next, in case of completed date, day, and presentation title, we knew that Excel would identify these columns as series and accordingly autocomplete them. Let's use the fill handle here again and see. You see how quickly we can get through these things if we know the basics. I do hope so far this session has been easy to understand because it's an extremely useful functionality in Excel. I personally like to take a break when learning important concepts. So, let's resume in the next session. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have in the comment section and I will try my best to clarify them. In the next session, we look forward to complete our data sheet and also look at a very exciting feature of fill handle functionality. See you soon. Have a nice day.